Professor Ramesh Chandraji, Member Niti Aayog, and my personal guide on agricultural issues, Dr. Robert, Mr. Prashad, Rambod, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you and welcome to this forum. It's an honor to me to join all you here on 3rd Agriculture Outlook Forum. As in the initial address for Ramesh Chandra, I said, he is one of very distinguished person which we have in Government of India, a very knowledgeable person in Agriculture Ministry, and I'm thankful to you, sir, for coming here to speak on the contextual issues of this forum, which focuses on. I'm sure your insights into the present state of agriculture would contribute to success of this program in terms of policy perception and outcomes. I'd like to also inform the August gathering, he is a member secretary and convener for the committee which informed by Honorable Prime Minister of the Chief Minister to give a recommendation for transforming agriculture as the committee formed by the Prime Minister, and all the inputs and every guidance is very important for us. I'm also delighted to have presence of Dr. Robert Jonathan, Chief Economist of United States Department of USDA in this event. I wish to acknowledge your contribution, personal contribution at personal level, and the help rendered by USDA in this event, which is emerging as a vibrant platform for exchanging global experiences of growth and development in agriculture sector. I'm sure this forum will benefit from your views and the views of other delegates, especially FAO and other international organizations, Australian Commission, others, which are participating in this event. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll briefly touch upon the different topics which have been mentioned here. One of the major focus of today's theme is universal income. And Dr. Francis is here, I think he'll speak about that this time. I'd like to share about the experiences of India of a PM Kisan Yojana, which is a direct income support to the farmers which has started. Roughly, we have a census every 5 years, which is 15-16 last census, which estimates the operational holdings were roughly 14.5 crores. So into millions, it would come to around 145 million holdings would be there. And Government of India took a decision in month of February, 2nd of February to be exact, announcement was made in the budget speech in 1st of February that all small and marginal farmers and small and marginal farmers defined as the farmers which have land less than 5 hectares will give an annual support of 6,000 rupees with the Government of India. And 6,000 rupees support to the farmers, small farmers of the country amounts to a total annual budget of 75,000 crore rupees, which comes to around $10 billion US. The scheme was implemented, announced by Honorable Prime Minister on 1st of February. And the mechanism is that identification to be done by state governments. And in terms of state governments put up the details of the farmers into the land eligibility criteria. And those farmers which are upward certain income level will not get the support of the part of PM Kisan Yojana. But that is around 5% of farmers, so 95% of farmers, small farmers, will get the benefit of the scheme. First 40 days of the scheme, that was the amount of enthusiasm among the people in the state government was around 3 crore farmers with 30 million farmers. Data was uploaded on the portal and the money was transferred in 40 days to the farmers, which comes to around $1 billion of US. When we made the analysis of the first 10 million farmers who were transferred the money, State Bank of India was one of the major bank through which the money was transferred. And out of 10 million farmers, 2.7 million farmers related to State Bank of India. And the first installment, 2,000 rupees was transferred to the farmers. It turned out that 11 lakh farmers out of this 27 lakh farmers, with 1.1 million farmers, had less than 500 rupees in their account. And on the very first day, 100,000 farmers withdrew the money also. So that is the necessity of the timely input supplied to the farmers. And I'm pleased to inform the August gathering that by now, on the portal, roughly over 8.5 crore farmers, which is 85 million farmers, names are already in the portal, and the money has been transferred already to over 6.5 crore farmers with 65 million farmers. And the total money transfer, now third installment tranche is being transferred from 1st of August. And total money transfer to the farmers is a tune of $3.5 billion US. And budget provision already there, as I mentioned before, $10 billion US for this thing. So PM Kisan with experience and the need, and apart from that thing, the only Prime Minister in the second stint, the first decision was taken by the union government was to extend this scheme to all the farmers, bigger farmers also. And now all the farmers, which roughly around would be 13 crores, which would be 130 million farmers would be there, would be able to get the benefit as a part of the scheme. I was talking to one of the very prosperous farmers of NCR region. NCR is the National Capital Region of Delhi. He belonged to Meerut and he had a large chunk of land, and I think his land is 20 hectare plus, and he grows organic potatoes and everything. But in terms of, because income tax is not there as part of agriculture in the country, so he was also eligible as a part of the scheme. And on the extension of farmer scheme to all the big farmers, he was very happy. And I asked him the questions, why is so happy with this direct income support transfer to you of 6,000 rupees per annum? He said the recognition of the government of recognizing me as a farmer and the benefit and the money transferred by the government to me in account, so recognizing a Samman recognition is very good for me, and any recognition by government of India adds to my enthusiasm, adds to my pride, adds to my more enthusiasm. So apart from UBI, when the session we're talking about ultimately recognizing that apart from need, necessity, and the value of the money which we transferred, ultimately the confidence which is given to the persons is very important. There are large number of success stories, large number of case studies which have come as a part of the stories, as a part of PM Kisan Yojana, which I think Vivek Agarwal will be coming here as a part of the session. And just I'll try to touch one. I have a colleague of mine who is also Secretary Government of India, and he's a secretary in one of the ministries of the department. And he was sharing this experience to me that he belonged to a certain village, and every month he used to send, 2 months he used to send a person to his village. There's an old person for the medicines and everything, for making available the medicine, to take the person to the hospital, get the medicine available to him. And when this time he sent the person to him to take the medicine, he said, now you need not send the person to me. I'm getting the support every 4 months so I can buy the medicines from the hospital directly. So small needs, small thing are ultimately assurance of a timely payment and assurance of getting the money in a particular time immediate gives a large amount of confidence about this thing. So large amount of things we talked about universal basic income scheme, but we have a lot of experience in terms of PM Kisan, which has been started in February, in terms of positive experience of the farmers which are coming in. Second topic which we talked about is artificial intelligence and big data. And ultimately, any big things create a large number of opportunities. When PM Kisan came in, so right now with the coverage of all the farmers, maybe small or marginal or a big farmers, suddenly government realized there's a big opportunity for the country because now data will be available for all the farmers, except 5% which can come at the later part. So 95% or 95% farmers' data will come as a part of income transfer scheme. So why don't we leverage this data in creating a platform where all this, because we are getting the bank details of the farmers, his KYC, his no entity, we have Aadhaar system in the country, Aadhaar number of the farmer, bank account details, mostly land details and everything. So why not create a farmer platform? And right now in the country, around 90% land records are digitized. So taking land records digitized base and basically taking the income details or taking the bank details from this PM Kisan data, converge both to data, create a data, wherein different scheme implementation take place, and something like a file of all the farmers can be created. Right now, we run different schemes as a part of short-term credit to the farmers. There's a different data set of around 5 crores plus farmers, which is 50 million farmers plus data is available. Then as a part of soil health card scheme, there's again data of around 12 crore farmers, which is 100 million farmers data in a separate set in terms of a software data. Then in terms of insurance scheme of Fasal Bima Yojana, there's different set of data, around 4 to 5 crore data, 50 million data farmers. So in created those different sets, platforms can be created, and this platform shall be open source platform where different private sector which wants the data of the farmers can leverage the data. I am pleased to inform that Government of India has decided to work on this. Work has been initiated, and we expect by June 2020, 80% plus farmers' data should be there as a part of the data, which can be a game changer in terms of policy planning. And apart from all this thing, artificial intelligence usage can be used as a part of the data. Because this data will be village-wise, geography-wise, GPS data can be linked up. I'll just quote two examples for this thing. We have a PM Kisan call center wherein farmers phone up there for different grievances, different issues, different guidance. Directly phone comes to the farmer, and roughly 40 lakh farmer plus phone every month, that type of farmer. So basing on this data, basically geographical location will be there. We intend to converge all these telephone calls with what type of inquiries are coming in particular area. For certain pests, certain inquiries come in certain area of 3-4 farmers, meaning thereby there's certain pest attack in that area. And advisory can go using artificial intelligence concept and all those things from data to those farmers or those state functionaries or the person responsible to take curative effect to ensure a timely action is taken for the remedial action, whatever is required for the farmers. Secondly, we have started a pilot project recently. IBM Weather Advice Service is considered best in the world, and all the airlines have been told use these data services. In the 4 districts of the country, one in Gujarat, one in Rajasthan, one in MP, and one in UP. 4 districts, and these weather advisories are not our district basis, they can go plot-wise. The weather advisory services, basing on the data which is available, to exactly the farmers' services have started. So big data and all these things are a big game changer, but now this step of Government of India, which is going to have initiated already, and hopefully by June 2020, 80% farmers should be part of this thing, could be a very, very important step, milestone for managing policy, managing implementation, knowing actual status of the farmers and going long term in terms of extension practices for the farmers and all those things. Third topic, which I think is very, very relevant, and I will compliment the team of Prashad and Osfas both and everybody who has worked on this thing, of identifying the topics which are there for this today's conference. And those are topics, most of the topics which we in the ministry discuss on and off, and which issues comes from the farmers mostly are covered as part of this. I would like to compliment for this thing. Managing the problem of plenty of the agriculture, and from the food scarcity which was there in 50s, 60s, I was saying, now talking of food plenty is a great thing, and ultimately this is one of the major focus of the country right now in terms of managing the plenty. In terms of scarcity right now, there were 2 items major in the country in terms of everyday output. Well, there's a flag those things also. One was the pulses, just some sort of scarcity was there. Second is oil seeds. Honorable Prime Minister made a call in Raipur, I think 2015, that proper policy planning should take place, and that time pulses prices had really shot up to 3-4 times level, wherein all the necessary policy input intervention should take place. And he called upon all the farmers with their potential to ensure that pulses sufficiency take place in the country. And policy intervention in terms of seed villages, seed hubs, and in terms of proper MSP increase for this pulses had come in. And these steps, MSP purchase, I would like to just say last 5 years, in 3.5 to 4 years, pulses bought under MSP, apart from price was higher, is around 47 times more than what was bought in before 5 years, that thing. So that amount of MSP increase has taken place. And I'm pleased to inform this August gathering that because of these policy interventions from 15 announcement made, in 18, we were producing around 16 million metric ton of pulses annually, and with the country requirement 23 million metric ton. And 2018, we had pulses production of 25 million metric ton. So basically, we went to a pulses sufficiency. So right policy intervention, right timely, right call to the farmers in terms of policy support, MSP, in terms of proper seed availability, extension machinery. And then 2018, a lot of opportunity created. So when pulses procured in large amount quantity, the pulses were there as part of the stocks, and because demand was saturated and the price went down as compared to MSP. Then Government of India came out with a scheme, because for nutrition security and for the FAO's aspect is very important, is when a concept is going for food security, is nutrition security. They said, why not distribute pulses on a concessional basis to the PD system? So Government has started a scheme where 15 rupees of subsidy on the raw pulses, which amounts to only 50% of the overall produced pulses as compared to market prices. So state will be getting a quota and they can distribute in the pulses in PD system. I'm pleased to inform that around 8 million metric ton of pulses were distributed in PD system at 50% price as compared to the market price. And ultimately long-term nutrition security in the rural areas, that plenty, so plenty can be sorted out in terms of large number of policy interventions, in terms of taking the right amount of measures. One thing I'd like to flag, which I mentioned, two things are very, in terms of scarcity. So pulses, country has reached to self-sufficiency now. Oilseeds, yes, there is scarcity right now, and oilseeds are roughly import of oilseeds and or refined oil. Edible oil would be around to the tune of 60,000 crores plus annually, maybe around $8 million US. But the country has taken a drive, and with the guidance of Ramesh Chandraji, Niti Aayog, and all the members, we are committed that by 7 to 8 years from now, country should move for self-sufficiency in oilseeds also. But managing problem of plenty, ultimately getting a right price, and if the produce is of appropriate price, and appropriate price could be if right practices there in terms of lesser production cost, right quality, more productivity. Those are different issues, and ultimately focusing on export of different variety and focusing on organic produce or national farming produce, so that those market segment can be catered. Those are the focus which the country is going on as a part of this thing. Crop insurance, country launched a Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana 3 years back, and the best part of Fasal Bima Yojana right now is roughly to the tune of $3.5 billion. Farmers are getting insurance claim as a part of Fasal Bima Yojana annually, and the farmers getting a claim would every year would be to the tune of 20 million farmers are getting claims as part of an insurance scheme. And the best part of the insurance scheme, which has happened in the last 3 years after the launch of scheme, from initially we have a system wherein the farmers who take a short-term credit from the banks, they are compulsory enrolled as part of the insurance scheme. So there is a system of voluntary enrollment also. The initial years there was 5 to 6% voluntary enrollment, but the last crop figures which are coming, 36% farmers voluntary enrollment has come in. So maybe it's going for major farmers role in this thing, popularizing farmers in this thing. Now the major change in the Fasal Bima Yojana or the insurance scheme, which we call a PM Fasal Bima, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, which is saying, is use of technology in terms of crop cutting experiment which we are have to undertake. When we go toward village level in terms of insurance for the village level instead of block as a unit, roughly around 70 lakh is 7 million crop cutting experiment have to take place every year, which is a massive task. In that amount of short window which is there for the harvest period, organizing the 7 million crop cutting experiment is a big thing. So country is thinking in terms of use of technology and best practice technology, and we have embarked a large number of startups and whatever resources are there in terms of remote sensing to do this thing. And we hope in the years to come, 2 3 years, major technology usage in terms of predicting the harvest shall be the major focus for the country. Water management is a sixth session which has been discussed in the country. I think in this Jal Shakti people must have been called. I think advisor Niti Aayog was there. I'll just like to brief fact. A major program was launched in the country in terms of creating awareness in the country from Jal Shakti. First time, I think, in the history of governance in the country, leading from the front, Honorable Prime Minister decided that all the officers, around 700 senior officers of Government of India, these officers at the level of Deputy Secretary, Joint Secretary, Secretary, if the team of technical officers of the groundwater team and all the technical officers, roughly around Government of India officials to the tune of 4,000 or 3,500 officers, were given a task to go into the village, go to every district which have water scarred districts, and those districts were roughly 50% of the country. And there create a great awareness campaign in the country, and those officers were supposed to go in a period when the rain was there, the period of 2.5 months, 3 times in the district, involve schools, involve different youth, different universities, different NGOs and all those things, and large number of buses have been created as a part of Jal Shakti. I hope something I was talked about in the part of water management, Jal Shakti, and that bus creation in terms of creating large number of water structure or harvest structure, a long way in terms of improving this thing for water management system. Reform of input markets, robust price forecasting, different topics are also relevant. But let's touch one more thing. In terms of maintaining penalty, major focus right now in the country is also in terms of market reforms. As part of APMC in the country, there was a restriction in the farmers to sell their produce in the mandi. Mandi was a marketplace where the farmers are supposed to sell their produce. And those APMCs or mandis had a right to take up where the farmers sell in the village also. All these are part of the APMC. The large number of reforms have been taken. The Model Act has been accepted as part of AMCMD, where private mandis can be created, warehouses can be considered as a part of the mandi creation. And there we have said the Act will be applicable only to the geographical location where the mandi or the produce have been bought by the APMC in terms of user charges, and interstate movement, a uniform this thing. And country started concern of ENAM, which is the electronic marketing platform. And when ENAM created, when we started the system 3 years back with the Honorable Prime Minister guidance, roughly bids which were coming on an average bid for the farmers were roughly 1.6 for every lot when they used to sell. And over the 3-year period now, the average bid which is coming is 4.1 bids which are coming in. Right now, there have been instances where interstate trades have also happened. So between 12 states, interstate for the first time, because the use of technology in terms of ENAM have happened place in this thing. Second, in terms of managing inputs, surplus and everything, with guidance of member Niti Aayog, Model Contract Farming Act was also initiated by the government of India. Actually being a state subject, states have adopted those acts. So Model Act has been subject to the state governments. And I'm pleased to inform that Punjab had the act already, and Tamil Nadu is the first state after that thing which had adopted this act now, as the president concerned, and hopefully in very near future it will be circulated. I'd like to also inform this August gathering, the government of India, Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister guidance, actually has major focus in transforming agriculture. And first meeting of the Niti Aayog, which was held, Niti Aayog is a conference where all the chief ministers called in the first month of Honorable Prime Minister taking over this conference. And the 5 topics which related to the discussions of those Honorable Chief Minister meeting, 3 related to the agriculture marketing reforms, Country Farming Act, and Buying Surplus Food Grains and Partitions Commodity Act. So 3 items of the 5 on this CM's conference related to agriculture. With these words, I'd like to compliment the team of Prashad ji and our team to organize this conference. I'd like to thank all the persons who are coming here. And change in agriculture policies depend on multi-stake involvement in a coordinated fashion. I, on behalf of Ministry of Agriculture and Farm Welfare, welcome you all to this forum, and I'm confident that the discussion will be held, which in today will have an enriching conference, and I assure you, and I like to charge to all the recommendations which are there as part of the very relevant topics is there, to come to Ministry of Agriculture, and I assure you all the things, all your contributions for all the topics we have taken forward to a logical conclusion. Thank you for coming.